So the Samsung S9 5K monitor is pretty much out there in the wild, so you can get your hands on one. But depending on what part of the world you're at, for some reason, it's still not available here in Canada, but we will be reviewing that as soon as it drops. I'd also like to do some comparisons between the S9 and the M8. I think that would make for an interesting video. If that's something you'd like to see, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss on that. Shameless plugs aside, this actually gave me a moment to reflect on the time I've had with the M8. Now, the MK 4K monitor hit the market sometime around June of last year, and I've been using it every day for nearly over a year since then. And I must say, this is by far the most enjoyable monitor I've used ever, period. It definitely had some caveats, and I did cover that extensively in my review. I'll put it somewhere on the card so that you can check that out. One of the reasons I think the M8 didn't really do too well was pretty much down to two major things. The first thing would be limited port options. Second thing would be the display quality. Now, don't get me wrong, the M8 actually looks very impressive. The blacks are very deep, the colors are very vibrant, and it has a very high contrast ratio. I think it's 3000 to 1. However, because it's a VA panel, you're going to have a lot of color shift once you're off access. For creatives and professionals, I think these two limitations made them steer off of this. There weren't enough port options for flexibility, and the display just wasn't as color accurate as most content creators would actually like it to be. That being said though, Samsung knew the assignment here. Keep the design the way everyone likes it, but make every other thing else better, which I do think is what we want now. Yes, even something as little as moving the remote sensor from the bottom right corner to the center. Thank you, Samsung. Much appreciated. So let's go over the things that I really like about this monitor, some of the things that I don't like about it and has me worried. Without further ado, let's dive in. The first obvious thing you will notice about the S9 is that we're moving from 4K to 5K now. Now, there are not too many options in terms of 5K monitors out there outside of LG and a few obscure brands. So this would be a nice competition for Apple Studio Display. Now, the second thing about the display is that we're now moving from VA panel to IPS. The main difference here is that with VA panels, you had decent colors, high contrast ratios, but poor viewing angles. On the IPS panel, you might have a lower contrast ratio, but better viewing angles, much more vibrant colors, and I think you tend to get a brighter display generally on IPS panels. Will the black levels be substantially compromised compared to the M8? That'll be something that will remain to be seen. So once we get the monitor, we'll do a review, and be sure to stick around when that video drops. Now, this would also be matte finish, just like the M8. I kind of would have liked if they had a glossy version, because generally with glossy screens, the black levels seem way darker on glossy panels. That would have been a nice addition to have for people who want a glossy finish. The other thing here is that we're getting a wider color gamut on the S9. The M8 was lacking in the DCI-P3 space. We now have that on the S9, and they're actually boasting of 99% coverage. I think this is the feature of this monitor that is going to make content creators and photo editors look at this monitor and say, you're getting my attention. But the price tag may be something that will still chase them away because of the options we have there in the market. Now, better color calibration. This one, I'm happy that they're at least improving it, because on the M8, it wasn't really that good, to be honest. I never even bothered with it. I used my own manual color settings for the display and all of that. I wasn't playing around with the calibration. But now they're saying that it's way more improved, and they all seem to be impressed by the color accuracy the monitor was getting. So I'm going into this with an open mind. There's nothing for me to make me think that they've not actually improved it. One big thing about this display is that we're getting about 150 more nits in brightness. I think that's a big deal. With the M8, it capped out usually at around 450 nits, even in HDR mode, and that was bright enough for most monitors. It's not going to pop the way you would expect HDR content to. Now, combine the fact that this is an IPS panel, it's a 5K display, it has a wider color gamut, and it also has HDR10, and it's brighter. If you had the M8, they're not even going to be in the same category. There's going to be a very noticeable difference between the S9 and the M8 in terms of display quality. So I think that might be the most exciting thing I want to check out, how vibrant the colors actually look. Yeah, that's definitely what I want to look at the most about the S9. Now, in terms of the design, it looks pretty much the same from the M8. You're not really going to notice anything just by looking at it. However, there's some slight changes that they made that are quite profound in my opinion. For example, the stand on the S9 again is revamped. You not only have height and tilt adjustments, but you can now rotate the entire screen. Now, this is also VESA compatible right out the gate. So with the previous M8, it was not VESA compatible. Now this one, you can straight up do that without getting an adapter. The speakers on this, Just like last year, there's nothing to say about the speakers. Now, the webcam is no exception. Definitely upgraded here. We're going from 1080p to 4K with the new webcam that comes on the S9. I'm curious about this one because, in my opinion, I do think the camera on the M8 was actually pretty good. Most people were saying that was bad or below average, but once you're using like a normal webcam app within Windows environment, I think the quality is fine. They also say that they have improved the mics on these, so better sound pickup, and this could actually work better for video calls, I imagine. So yeah, that's no complaints here, no complaints. Now with the ports, they've definitely improved in this department as well. Here we have a Thunderbolt 4 USB-C, 3 USB-C ports. I believe this will act like hubs, so maybe you can plug in your SSDs and you can have access to them. Now we also have a mini display cable. I know that you have improved everything, but could you just have given us like a normal HDMI cable? We would have appreciated that. It always has to be something small. And now finally that brings us to the elephant in the room, the price. I think a better price range might be $1,200. Now, to be fair, Samsung does get aggressive with their sales from time to time. So we might get like $300 of this. And that's when I'll feel like it'd be a better value. I would say with this monitor, only get it when it's on sale. If you clicked on this video, you saw that I was worried about this monitor. The reason really comes down to the price, in my opinion. I feel the price tag is going to chase a lot of people. And then also the other reason, maybe it's not so much about a widespread issue and maybe it's more unique to me, is the fact that it's 27 inches. That's part of the reason why they're able to achieve the high points per square inch. But in my opinion, I'll gladly take, let's say 180 or like 200 points per square inch to maintain the 32-inch display that you had on the M8. If they ever bring a 32-inch version, how much are they going to charge on that? They're going to charge $2,000 because I can see them push into that price range. I guess on the plus side, you're not having to pay for a stand. I won't name names. Yeah, so I think that pretty much wraps this up for this video. Let me know what are some of the features that you're actually looking forward to with the S9. So I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe and have a great time.